Hi everybody, and welcome back to another Man Card Monday. So today we are going to make a card that has 0 stamping. Isn't that great? And look at all this fun. Look, we can have shimmer, sort of. Shine? There we go. We have shine on a card for a guy. Because who doesn't need to celebrate, right? So we do have a blank inside today, and that's okay. But it's super simple to do, no stamping, takes next to no time. So let me show you how to do this. So our pieces, we of course need our card base. Our background and texture paper today is 4 by 5 1/4. We have strips that some of them I've already done for you, so you don't have to see all of them. But we have 2 strips that are 4 inches by 3/8 inches and 3 strips that are 4 inches by 1/4 inch. And then we have the Celebrate and the backing of the Celebrate, both in White Daisy, cut from the Artistry cartridge. So let's get to it, shall we? So it is, like I said, super simple. What I did, I wanted to save a little bit of time, so that's why I did some of these already. And let me show you the paper that I used. I used one of my messy papers. I ran a strip of tape adhesive, and then I just lined up all of the strips together, and I used my VersaPad and Versamark pad, and then put the powder on top of it and then heat set it. So we're going to do something similar, except we're not going to glue it down this time. So we're going to keep with the messy bits, because why mess up another one? And we're using a Versamark pad. And yes, it is ugly, and that's okay, because it's still stamping clear, or inking clear, I guess. We're not stamping today, remember? All right, so I am going to move this off to the side a little bit. I'm going to bring in a clean sheet of printer paper. We are going to pour our embossing powder right over the top. And you can pour the whole bottle on here, and that's quite all right. We're going to tap that off a little bit. Mostly because I don't want the powder to go flying. All right, and then before we do anything else, we are going to put this away. We're just going to bend our paper and pour it back into our bottle. Okay. Put the lid on it so it doesn't go anywhere. And then I have my heat tool. There are a variety of them out on the market, so whichever one you might have or can find. The only thing you do want to do is make sure you let it heat up completely before you use it. So in this instance, we're going to let it heat up for about 10 seconds, and let's do that. I'm putting it under my desk so it's not quite as loud. And when I pull it back up again, it's going to be kind of loud, sorry. So I am just going to grab a hold of this. And put this on here, and you can just watch. Ouch, when that happens. But be aware, it is hot. Same thing on this one. You can just watch it change there. All right, so now what we're going to do, a couple things. We are going to bring in a piece of scrap wood. So this is option 2 when you're doing this, okay? So regardless of what you do, we are going to put some more Versamark on both of these pieces. And on this piece, the edges don't matter as much as the middle does. And the same can be said for this piece. I do think I need to re-ink my Versamark, and that's okay. All right. Again, going to set this aside and pour our powder on here. Don't want to close that yet. And again, we're going to lift up. I'm just going to set it on this wood piece here. We want to make sure our ends are fully covered. And again, put our powder back in. You don't want this blowing around everywhere. So this time I'm going to hold it with my piercing tool. I'm actually going to move this one off to the side so it doesn't get blown away. Turn this on for a few seconds and then heat this up. That one is done. Keep in mind these are hot. Do not put your fingers right down in there. Okay, so this one again, we are wanting the stuff in the middle, so I'm going to hold it by the outside edge with my piercing tool, and I'm going to melt this one. And voila, we're done. Well, with that part anyway. So what the wood does is it just protects your surface. So if you have a wood desk that doesn't have a finish on it, you can go ahead and do that right on your desk. If you do not have a wood desk that has no finish, the finish part is important. Then you're going to want something to protect it. So you can use some wood, you can use a glass media mat, glass cutting board, anything like that. And I just use my piercing tool because A, it's hot, so I don't want to use my fingers, and B, so it doesn't blow away. Because, you know, wind plus paper goes everywhere. All right. So like I said, you could do that strip of tape and tape everything down, you know, in a row. Do all of your inking, do your powder, tap off your powder, heat it, re-ink, re-powder, remove the powder, reheat again. So I did 2 layers because it makes it look a little bit nicer. So you can see kind of here maybe that it's not quite as nice here in the middle where it's only got the one layer of powder as it is the rest of the places. And yes, these are going to curl. I've played with them a little bit, and you can get them to uncurl, but they want to curl back up. When you melt plastic, which is essentially what this is, it wants to get smaller. And so since the paper is flat, paper doesn't necessarily get smaller, it's going to curve. So that's why you get curves. All right, so let's get some things put together. All right, so you are going to want to use glue dots on this because the liquid glues do not have really anywhere to adhere on the melted surface. Again, it's a plastic. So because of that, we are going to use micro glue dots. And just so I can see where I'm placing them, I'm just going to use my piercing tool and just put them on here. So I am going to put them in each of the 4 corners. That sounds pretty safe there, right? And then I am going to put one in the middle of the C so that stays down. And then I am going to put one in the middle of the R so that stays down. And I kind of crumple that in on itself to make sure that there isn't any showing outside of this piece. So then I'm going to do each of those points, and then I'm going to do just a couple here and there around the edges to make sure that the whole thing stays together. Put one above the B. And then one more here by the A. And then you are just going to line them up right on top of each other and press down. So if you do not get it perfectly lined up, you have 2 options. You can take it all apart, or you can just snip. And I am just going to snip off some of this silver because I don't want it showing, but I do not want the possibility of curling any of these inner letters or tearing them off. So that is how you fix that. All right, next we are going to attach our paper. I have a little bit of the embossing powder on my desk here. You may recognize the back side of this paper from a previous card, previous Man Card Monday, actually, even. We have something coming in the new catalog that I cannot wait for. We are just going to line this up, press it down, and then I use my bone folder to make sure to spread out all of that adhesive. Okay, next make sure your card is facing the right direction. And then you're just going to kind of lay these out however you might like them. So on mine I did varying heights, so you can do all the same height, you can do different heights, you can do all one width at one height and another width at another height type of a thing, however you'd like to do it. And then the easiest thing to do is to make sure that you glue the center one first. Okay, well, you don't have to make sure that you do that, but that will help make sure that your card your pieces are evenly spaced on your card. On my first one, they're a little bit off kilter, and that's okay because I bet you didn't even notice until I said something, which is fine. I just wanted to do a little bit better this time. I am using the lines on the paper to help make sure that my pieces are straight. And I think I may not have gotten enough glue on that piece, but we'll see. All right. And I do tilt mine back and forth to lay the strips down. For me, it's easier to lay them down horizontally than it is to try and do it vertically. I don't know if it's just me. I do press for a few seconds because, again, it is, you know, melted plastic. It still wants to curl even though we're gluing it onto the card. All right, so there is our card so far. Next, we are going to be playing with our embellishing thread. So this is silver embellishing thread. I think I have enough left. As you can see, I don't have very much left on here. Oh, but I'm sure it's more than enough. All right, to help us, we are going to put 2 large glue dots. We're going to put one above the R and the A, and then we're going to put one below the L. So we have one here and one here. Set that down for a moment. We are going to take our embellishing thread and we're going to wrap it 3 times. So we have 3 strands on our nail side around just 2 fingers. We don't need this to be super big. All right, and then we are just going to attach that in the glue dot, and then we're just going to kind of mess it up some. Now, we don't want to twist it, although it does kind of want to do that. But you can play with it in the glue dot to adjust where it's going to sit. So that's what we have so far. And then we are going to do the exact same thing. 2 fingers, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I dropped one. And we're just going to put them in the glue dot and kind of mess them up a little bit. Just like that. All right, so we are going to trim off this piece because it is a little bit long. And if you want to make sure that your end pieces are not going to go anywhere, you can grab a hold of them and put them back through the glue dot. so both of them are backed onto the glue dot. I have that little piece left over. I'm sure I can do something with it. Alright, so I put some foam dots on this piece so they would be super easy to grab a hold of. And then just take the backings off and put our piece on. This card was super simple, right? It was so fun to put together. And I will have the cut file for this when I get this up onto my blog. All right, so there we go. 2 cards, super simple, super easy, with a fun little technique. I really like how they turned out. I hope you do as well. And thanks for joining me for a Man Card Monday.